Good morning, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome to day 19. We are just cruising along here. Okay, so it is actually almost 10 minutes after. And here's the reason today. You can probably hear my printer in the background. Guys, I was so immersed. I was listening to, if you haven't read that book, it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I don't have my copy here with me, which I'm very, very sad. An amazing book, amazing book. But anyway, I randomly came across an interview with him and Mel Robbins, and so good, you guys, so good. A lot of the things that we're learning in here, he talked about success is learning how to fail. I don't know, something similar to what we've already talked about in here. So anyway, I was doing that, and I was on a mission to print out some, I'm learning how to time block. So, and that's a whole different thing. I don't want to take time to read that because today we're starting a new habit. And so we've got a little bit more reading, so I'm not going to review. So today we are on habit number 4, which is fly the kite. Habit number 3 was, eat the frog, right? Yes, eat the frog. Habit number 2 was, anybody? Kiss the wave. And habit number 1 was flip the script. Okay, so we're going to get started right into habit number 4, fly the kite. Because remember, we read about the habit and then we jump into our day. So how you do anything is how you'll do everything. On November 9th, let me move this here. Okay. On November 9th, 1847, a civil engineer named Charles Ellet Jr. was commissioned to build a bridge across the Niagara Gorge. The greatest challenge was getting the first cable across an 825-foot chasm with 225-foot cliffs on either side. Enter Theodore Graves Hewlett, a local ironworker who suggested, get this, a kite flying contest. Well, of course. A 15-year-old boy named Homan Walsh won the $10 cash prize for flying the first kite across the chasm. The day after that successful flight, a stronger line was attached to that kite string and pulled across. Then an even stronger line, then a rope, then a cable consisting of 36 strands of 10-gauge wire. The bridge would eventually become the world's first railway suspension bridge. It would connect 2 countries, and it was strong enough to support a 170-ton locomotive. And it all started with a single kite string. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand. Plumb line, kite string, same difference. A plumb line was an ancient architectural device. It was a vertical reference line ensuring that a structure was centered. Stop and think about this. God was rejoicing before they even broke ground. All they'd done was find the center of gravity, and God was giving them a standing ovation. We want to do amazing things for God, but that isn't our job. God is the one who does amazing things for us. We fly the kite, and God is the one who can build the suspension bridge. Our job is to consecrate ourselves to God one day at a time. If we do our job, God will do his. We are easily overwhelmed by the size of our dreams. It's so hard to take the first step, but you can't finish what you don't start. My advice, start small. We need to set stretch goals. but we need to reverse engineer them into small wins. If you do little things like they're big things, God will do big things like they're little things. Remember my hike to the top of Half Dome? Before we started the hike, I looked up at the top and a thought fired across my synapses. How in the world are we going to get all the way up there and all the way back down before sunset? You already know the answer. One step at a time. You get in shape one workout at a time. You get out of debt $1 at a time. You run a marathon 1 mile at a time. You write the book 1 page at a time. You build the relationship 1 date at a time. You build the business 1 sale at a time. When it comes to habit formation, you have to break it down. I see someone on here, but I can't. Oh, it's Nancy. Hey, morning, Nancy. Even a pie gets sliced into pieces. In 1952, Winston Churchill was serving as Chancellor of Bristol University when he was asked with the honor of laying the foundation stone of a new building on campus. As he picked up the silver trowel to lay the ceremonial stone, he said, "The stone isn't level." The very embarrassed officials produced a plumb line to double check. Sure enough, Churchill's dead reckoning was right. This incident raises the question, how did a professional politician have that kind of eye for architectural detail? The answer is the summer of 1928. Under tremendous pressure as the Chancellor of the Exchequer, a position he held from 1924 to 1929, Churchill desperately needed rest. The Prime Minister, Stanley Baldwin, gave him leave of absence. "Do remember what I said about resting from current problems," Baldwin wrote. "Paint, write, play." Churchill added one exercise to that list, laying bricks. He retired to the countryside where he built a cottage for his daughter. During that sabbatical, the future Prime Minister of Britain regained his sense of perspective. Writing to the current Prime Minister, Churchill said, "I have had a delightful month building a cottage and dictating a book. 200 bricks and 2,000 words a day. 200 bricks, 2,000 words. Flying the kite is all about consistent consistency." We've heard that before, haven't we? It's the Department of Redundancy Department. It's the Department of Redundancy Department. Okay. It's making marginal progress every day. 200 bricks, 2,000 words. It's compound interest. It's 1% improvement. It's getting better every day. Very few athletes rival the longevity and productivity of Kobe Bryant. His NBA career spanned 1,346 games over 20 seasons. He scored 33,643 regular season points, the 4th most of all time. That includes 60 points in his final game. Bryant won 5 NBA championships and 2 Olympic gold medals, among many other awards and accolades. How did he do it? Success isn't one-dimensional, so there isn't one answer. Bryant ate the frog with his biblical workouts, but he also flew the kite with film study. I went from watching what was there to watching for what was missing and should have been there. Okay, let me read that again. I went from watching what was there to watching for what was missing and should have been there. That's next level. That's flying the kite. Film study eventually became imagining alternatives, counters, options, in addition to the finite details of why some actions work and others don't. If we had a fraction of that kind of focus, it would be game on. It's time to fly the kite. So our day today is called Do It Small. Our scripture reference is Exodus 23:30. Little by little, I will drive them out. In July 2018, I was invited by Coach John Harbaugh to speak to the Baltimore Ravens on their opening day of training camp. I gave a talk based on my book, Chase the Lion, and that title became their team theme that season. After my talk, Coach Harbaugh took the time to take me on a tour of their training facility. They have the latest and greatest technology, including a biometric scale that measures body fat. I will neither confirm nor deny stepping on that scale, nor will I reveal the results. The most impressive piece of technology may have been a computer algorithm that uses electromyography to measure muscle pathology. The biofeedback from that machine gives the strength and conditioning coaches a quick read on biomechanical deficiencies. It enables them to identify weaknesses that need to be strengthened, as well as tendencies that need to be counterbalanced. I want one of those. The technical term is gait analysis, and the goal is helping athletes move more efficiently, more effectively. A key component of self-leadership is self-evaluation. We've got to do our own gait analysis. How? By going through the 3-step cycle we keep coming back to. Identify the prompt, interrupt the pattern, and imagine the prize. We may not be able to hook ourselves up to a machine that provides real-time biofeedback, but we can deconstruct a habit cycle if we know what we're looking for. If it helps, do a SWOT analysis, SWOT. It's often employed by organizations for strategic planning purposes, but it works just as well for individuals. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A SWOT analysis may help you reverse engineer the habit cycle. I have a friend who used to work in the front office of an NFL franchise, and he shared a fascinating 5-year study that used regression analysis to isolate and identify key factors that led to the success or failure of NFL franchises. In statistics, regression analysis is used to determine whether 2 sets of data are related. It differentiates between causation and correlation. It identifies the variable that makes the biggest difference. From 2009 to 2013, teams that ended the season with a top 10 differential in turnovers finished 521-278-1. That translates to a 65.1% winning percentage, averaging 10.4 wins per season. Conversely, teams that ended in the bottom 10 in turnover differential finished 287-512-1. That equates to a 35.9% winning percentage and 5.7 wins. The bottom line, it's really hard to win if you're turning over the ball. It's true in football and it's true in life. It's the unforced errors that hurt the most. But it's not single mistakes that sink the battleship. It's single mistakes that we allow to turn into losing streaks. Footholds that we let become strongholds. Bad decisions that we allow to become bad habits. Wow. Okay, here we go. I got to read just that little section again for me. It's not single mistakes that sink the battleship. It's single mistakes that we allow to turn into losing streaks. Footholds that we let become strongholds. Bad decisions that we allow to become bad habits. Like a stop-loss order in the world of finance, you need safeguards against compounding mistakes. Of course, the opposite is necessary as well. You have to turn small wins into winning streaks by repeating them over and over again. If you were to do a regression analysis on your habits, what would it reveal? Good or bad, our smallest habits can have a domino chain reaction. You don't have to make major changes. You need to identify the little habits that are high leverage, the domino habits. Did you know that the average person checks their phone 96 times a day? And I bet some of you are above average. Ooh, ouch. In one sense, smartphones save us time and energy, but not if it adds up to 3 hours and 43 minutes of screen time. We complain about not having enough time for this, for that, or for the other thing. The reality, we could be buying back that screen time for other things, or at the very least, using that screen time to habit stack. When it comes to imagining the prize, you've got to play the long game. Simply put, there is no finish line. It's the Japanese concept Kaizen, an unconditional commitment to continual improvement. It's about getting a little better every day in every way. That mindset is the key to every habit. Do it small. There is a 3-word phrase in the book of Deuteronomy that produces mixed emotions for me. Little by little, I will drive them out before you, God said, until you have increased enough to take possession of the land. Did you catch that? Little by little. Let me set the scene, and then I'll explain the mixed emotions. The Israelites were about to occupy the promised land, but it didn't come on a silver platter. God told them they would have to plant the crops they wanted to harvest, dig the wells they wanted to drink from, and build the houses they wanted to live in. It's the law of measures all over again. You'll get out of it what you put into it. Nothing more, nothing less. Then God told them it wouldn't happen overnight. It would happen little by little. On one level, this is discouraging. Yeah. Why? We want God to do it in a day. Well, newsflash, it might take as long to break the bad habit as it did to make it. Now, let me flip the script. The encouraging fact is that anybody can do it small. It's the mundanity of excellence. Again, if you do little things like they're big things, God will do big things like they're little things. And I have to add this. So I was listening to James Clear. That's why I was a little bit late. The guy that wrote Atomic Habits. And he talked about that. He said, if we make a decision to do, I forget exactly how he worded it, these little things, what we think is a 10-year goal, actually, if we're committed to just the day by day, it could end up happening way sooner. That part's not up to us. The part that is what we're doing daily. There we go. Remember day 2, harder is better. Day 3, slower is faster. How about day 5? Smaller is bigger. When it comes to making and breaking habits, those are the subplots. The process will be harder than you hope and longer than you like. Simply put, it could happen little by little. That's how God grows us, promotes us, and often heals us. I'm certainly not suggesting that God cannot deliver you in a day. He can do more in one day than you can accomplish in 1,000 lifetimes. He can do it as easily as he turned water into wine. But more often than not, deliverance is a process. More specifically, a 3-step process called the habit cycle. Even if God does deliver you in a day, you have to back up that deliverance with daily habits. The goal is not the goal. The goal is the process. I believe in setting God-sized goals. Go after a goal that is impossible without divine intervention. But the goal isn't just accomplishing the goal. It's who you become in the process. God uses big dreams to make big people. Why? Because they keep us on our knees. They force us to exercise faith. They make us make sacrifices. Flying the kite is all about focusing on inputs. Yes, you have to identify the goals you're going after, but then you need to reverse engineer them into small wins that will help you get there. That's how you build suspension bridges to the future. The bigger the goal, the more attention you need to pay to the details. After retiring from coaching, John Wooden was asked what he missed the most. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the games. It wasn't the trophies or the championships either. I love his one-word answer: practice. You know, I have to say that even with teaching dancing, the recital was great. The year-end recital, the competitions were fun, but what I miss the most are the practices, the weekly practices, being with the girls, all the conversations week after week that you have with them. Yeah, that's true. Wow. There's an old axiom: practice makes perfect. That's not false, but it's not entirely true either. You have to practice the right way. It goes back to the equation that I introduced on day 3. Deliberate practice plus desirable difficulty equals durable learning. If you practice the wrong way, you will cultivate bad habits. Anders Ericsson called it naive practice. Deliberate practice is paying attention to the details. Why? Because perfect practice makes perfect. It's true whether you're practicing scales, practicing a crossover dribble, or practicing spiritual disciplines. Just as you have to do the right thing for the right reason, you have to do it the right way. That is the Jesus way. During his illustrious career as a composer, Johann Sebastian Bach wrote 256 cantatas. 3 of his compositions cracked the 50 greatest pieces of classical music, which ranks him right behind Mozart and Beethoven. Bach doesn't get invited to many weddings anymore, but he crashes the party all the time. How? By his song, Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring, and it still ranks as the most played piece of music at traditional weddings. Any guess as to how Bach composed all those cantatas? One note at a time. I know it's starting to sound like a broken record, pun intended, and point made. It's the mundanity of excellence applied to music. Upon completing those compositions, Bach would inscribe 3 letters in the margin of the music, SDG. Those 3 letters stood for the Latin phrase, Soli Deo Gloria, to the glory of God alone. It was one of the rallying cries of the Protestant Reformation, but Bach employed it as a means of giving credit where credit is due. The prize was God's glory. So how do I make it a habit? Start small. Go ahead and dream big, but you have to start small and think long. You have to fly the kite a little higher, a little longer every day. Over time, the ceiling becomes the floor. You cannot jump to the 2nd floor from the pavement, said Emil Zatopek. Step by step, though, a man will come to the 5th floor. That's how he won 3 gold medals at the 1952 Helsinki Olympics. That's how he won 69 races in a row. That's how he became the greatest runner of all time at any distance. Emil Zatopek ran a total of 50,000 miles, the equivalent of 2 laps around the earth. Remember the law of measures? If you cheat the system, you're cheating yourself. If you cut corners, you're short-circuiting your own success and short-changing God's glory. The way you create a habit loop is by not giving yourself any loopholes. So, how is your habit going? Is it still measurable, meaningful, and maintainable? Have you reverse engineered it little by little? You've got to turn those life goals into daily habits. What's the one little step you need to take today to make that little by little progress? For Kobe Bryant, flying the kite was studying game film. For Winston Churchill, flying the kite was laying 200 bricks and writing 2,000 words per day. For the marathon monks, it was circling Mount Hai every day. For me, it was reading 3,000 books before writing even one. Do it small. Fly the kite. All right. Yeah, got to go back. There was a few things that needed to be highlighted in here. I hate to stop and pause when I'm reading to you guys, but man, I just need to have that highlighter there because, yeah, wow. All right, well, that concludes day 19. Day 20 tomorrow. That means only 10 more days. I told you it goes by just fast. I see we've got some people. Hello to Kenya. Hello to Uganda. Hello to Pakistan. And hello to Cleveland. All right. Bless you guys. Praying for all of us here on this habit challenge. And I believe for some of us, this might be confirmation. Maybe we've already started and we're on we've already been on this walk. And for some, this might be brand new information that your brain might be going tilt. It's okay. Wherever you are on this process, just don't stop. Like even for me this morning, that's what I meant. Like I'm still every so often, some new lights go on. And so I'm doing something new, but we're not stopping, right? Just step by step. So anyway, love you guys. And we'll see you tomorrow for day 20.